Coming up on this week's show, we will break down the Thunder's recent 6-game homestand.
Rebound, saved by Oklahoma City. Westbrook with got it!
We go one-on-one with Derek Fisher.
I don't think it can be measured because it's not just the noise, but there's a collective energy that builds from within, I think, for the team.
And we'll check out a special holiday reading timeout with Kendrick Perkins.
Everybody have to read that book. Like, it's just a must. It's a classic thing.
It's all coming your way starting right now on Thunder Insider. So come on in. Welcome to another edition of Thunder Insider. I'm Leslie McCaslin, joined by Brian Davis and Grant Long. The Thunder wrapped up that 6-game homestand with 6 straight wins here at Chesapeake Arena earlier this season. I know the guys are feeling rested. They're in a groove. You guys feeling rested? We've been here for so long.
I'm ready to go. Let's take a flight anywhere, somewhere. Let's just get on the road and, as they say, take the show on the road.
Well, you know, I actually, personally, I appreciate the different rhythm that being on the road provides. And one of the things that, to turn this back to the basketball club, guys, is the Thunder has been a good road team and very competitive, some very competitive games in this stretch with Sacramento and then Portland and then New Orleans, and then you come home to play the Indiana Pacers. So a lot to look forward to here as we get into the month of December, which will be fairly road heavy.
Yeah, we're on the road for the most of the month of December. And Jeremy Lamb said the same thing as you after that home game stand. He said, I'm ready to get on the road. I like being on the road. But at home, they have been so successful. 9-0 at Chesapeake Arena. Grant, what stands out to you about that last home stand?
I think it was a complete team effort. And when I say that, I'm talking about the contributions of the bench, Jeremy Lamb coming into his own. It seems there were plenty of games where one guy didn't have it going that particular night, but then somebody else stepped up and paved the way for the team to have success. And a lot of this stuff happened on the defensive end of the floor. And if you're Scott Brooks, you're very pleased about that because offensively, you're going to struggle from night to night. It's going to always be not necessarily a crapshoot, but you don't know if the ball is going to go in the basket. But your defense it's all about energy and effort, and I think that's the one thing you can control.
This team is evolving into a group that plays what Brooks calls no agenda basketball. And if you look, for instance, at the fact that opponents are shooting below 40% late first, early second quarter, and also shooting below 40% in the fourth quarter, the bench has a lot to do with that. And you take a look at the way that this team has trailed now, guys, in 5 home games, trailed after 3 quarters, and won every one of those games. I mean, that's really good, selfless sacrifice for the other guy team basketball.
And of course, the one game that stands out in that is that win over Golden State. A week later, we're still talking about it. I think next year we're still going to be talking about it. Russell Westbrook, but Thabo Sefolosha with a huge save in that game as well. There were so many plays like that during this homestand when, as you mentioned, they came back 5 times to win in the fourth quarter.
And that's what was special about the homestand. The fact is, we could talk about Kevin and Russell and what they did and how special they are, but through this homestand, it was a whole lot of other guys besides Kevin and Russell who made major contributions to the victory.
The victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves last Sunday. You know, you kind of lose track of these games going so fast. But beating Minnesota last Sunday left the Thunder at 9-1 when the bench outscores or the scoring is even between benches. But I'll tell you something else. That's sort of, that doesn't consider the impact of the defense of guys like D-Fish, guys like Jeremy Lamb. Reggie Jackson is becoming, you know, a defender who kind of pops out at you when you watch the video. And again, back to the Timberwolves game, how about Nick Collison? I mean, he was just an absolute beast.
Yeah, you talk about all of these guys. They all had a chance to really grow in this 2 weeks since they've been home. And we talked about that home court advantage and what it means to this team. Derek Fisher says it better than anyone. Grant, you had a chance to catch up with him earlier at Media Days. Here's more on that.
What does the energy inside of Chesapeake Arena feel like? Secondly, how does that help the team?
I don't think it can be measured because it's not just the noise in terms of energy,
right,
but there's a collective energy that builds from within, I think, for the team that comes from our home crowd. And it makes it a very tough place to play. for the road team, and one of the most enjoyable places ever to play as the home team. It's a lot of fun.
What drives you, Derek?
What drives me is just a natural love for playing basketball and competing and having a passion for the game, but also what other people have meant to me and what I represent every time I go out on the court. I represent those that told me I could do it and that loved me and supported me and pushed me, but I also represent those that said you couldn't and that challenged you and told you couldn't get there or you were too short or too slow, whatever the things were. But all of that adds up to just having a love to be the best I can be. And basketball is a way that manifests itself, and I love going out there doing it.
Take me through your leaving shoot around. It's a day of a game. How do you prepare?
In leaving shoot around, at that point, you physically have to try and relax and calm yourself down. But mentally, psychologically, you're still thinking about the game. You're still thinking about the matchups. You're still thinking about your defensive assignments, the way that you need to try and play in order to beat that team that night, because it's different every night. So you get home, you maybe have lunch, or if you've already had lunch, you try and find some quiet time and quiet space to relax, clear the mind. But that afternoon goes by fast, and then you're riding back into Chesapeake, and the energy's building again. And when you walk into that arena, it's all uphill from there in terms of just the building of excitement, anxiety, anticipation. And it's a great feeling after all these years to still have those emotions on a daily basis.
Great job, D.
Thank you, baby.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ahead on Thunder Insider.
I always think of little Grant picking up that basketball, and I mean, even on our days, I just think of that, and it inspires me to keep going for that goal.